to hit record. I'm going to go ahead and hit record. We'll give it another minute or so. We wrapped our senior chat very close to 7:30 or right at 7:30, so people might need a few minutes just to join. So give another minute, if that's okay. Actually, it doesn't look like there's more joining at the moment. So why don't we go ahead and get started? Let me share my screen and bring up the agenda. All right. Okay, here we go. This is welcome to our Thursday edition of the PTSO meeting. Thursday edition, I'm sorry, April edition. It's always on a Thursday of the PTSO meeting. Welcome to everybody for being here. I think officially we call it to order. So this is me officially calling it to order. And again, welcome. We are very excited about our agenda for tonight. We're going to hear again, I don't believe Austin's with us, but we do have a representative from the student office or the student liaison speaking with us, and of course from Melissa Blahnik and Eric Ebert. And very delighted to have our school resource officers, Louis Johnson and Jason Myrtle, with us, kind of as a follow-on to some of the conversation and some of the discussion we had in March with Rogers. And then of course that'll be followed by all the regular officer reports, committee reports, and so forth. But with that, I will go ahead and kick it off to, who do we have from the students? Is it Genevieve? Who do we have?
Amelia?
Hi, yeah, I'm here for Austin today.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's okay.
So pretty much we just had prom, which was very successful. So I'm very happy to share that we had very good attendance, and I also want to thank the PTSO many times for helping with the aquarium. Everyone loves that every year, so we're very thankful that you guys helped coordinate that, and it was so awesome seeing everyone, and everyone's like all dressed up, so that was perfect. Then Austin sent me a few pointers. So also this upcoming month is teacher appreciation. So we have a little bit of just some brief cards and candy to give out to all the teachers, which we'll be having take place next month. So we're excited to do that, as we do and have done previous years. So we've been working on that. Then also for
Jenna, if you could mute your microphone, please, Jenna, we'd appreciate it. Thank you. Sorry,
and
go
then
ahead.
you're all good. And then for the end of the year, we had an idea that some of the underclassmen would take a role in planning a Capture the Flag event, which we had one of our representatives talk to Principal Ebert about having this happen. So we will have a more extensive meeting talking about Capture the Flag tomorrow as a board. So this would just be a nice little end of the year event for the seniors leaving, and everyone else to just kind of have one last hurrah of the 2023-2024 school year. And then we also have our elections coming up. So I'm very excited to see the new class take a role in having the leadership for the school. So we seem to have a lot of people that are interested in running for student council. So we've been briefly talking with those students and starting the elections and just talking about all the positions with them soon. So we're very excited. So thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate you being with us tonight. I know you're subbing in, and really grateful that you could be here with us. So thank you. With that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you, Melissa.
All right, sounds good. Nice job, Amelia. I know you're a busy lady with track and everything else. So we appreciate your update. Okay, I think last time I talked to you about our plans to do the school-wide solar eclipse viewing. So that's where I'm going to start. And so we had a school-wide solar eclipse viewing on April 8th, as many other people went to see it too, despite not being in the path of totality. It was still really cool. So shout out to Miss Grace for all her work with that, and Mr. Ebert, and passing out the glasses on the football field. The weather cooperated that day. It was just really cool to all be together. There's some cool pics from the Highlander publications. There was a write-up on there. You can see Mr. Ebert in his protective eyewear enjoying the view. So that's pretty cool. Again, thank you for all of your contributions for helping the student council and the students to be able to take their pictures for prom with the aquarium. I know they had a great day. A lot of students enjoyed it, and the weather seemed to cooperate for prom this year too. So they enjoyed that. I think that was a great success. And obviously there's a lot of work that goes in, not only from student council and the PTSO, but then also Ms. Pfaff, Ms. Ackman, a lot of other adults that are chaperoning. So I'm glad that was a great event. In terms of academics, on Monday, we had our 20-day progress reports sent out to families, and we had some testing this week. Freshmen tested on Tuesday for the pre-ACT, I believe it was, and then sophomores today, Thursday, for the pre-ACT and the forward exams. Coming up, we have conferences next week, Thursday. It'll be the both with the Meet the Teacher, both the virtual component and the in-person component as well. Spring sports are underway, a lot of successes, and I think some record-breaking instances, especially in track. So that's really exciting for those athletes. I know the drama students are preparing for their Pride and Prejudice performance that is coming up April 26th through the 28th. So that's next weekend. So hopefully we can attend the event and support them. In terms of AP testing, boost sessions have been underway. I know students are checking those schedules that were sent out and attending those boost sessions after school. I think families got sent some information from Jackie Connolly, and I think also students are able to see some reminders on the screen. I just have a little reminder on behalf of AP to remind students to log into their College Board accounts and make sure that they accept the terms and conditions in their College Board account prior to taking each exam. And I believe Ms. Connolly sent out some information on that. AP testing will take place May 5th through May 17th. And if students need an additional copy of the testing schedule, they can also grab that in the counseling office. I think those are most of my updates. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Blahnik? Okay, we're gonna roll it over to you, Eric Ebert.
Thanks, Julie. Thanks, Amelia. Thanks, Melissa. Amelia, I am looking forward to Capture the Flag. I will say that if Mrs. Blahnik is as good at Capture the Flag as she is at throwing a dodgeball, the faculty team will do just fine. Hopefully we can get the officers there as well. That'd be fun that night. Looking forward to hearing more details from the group after tomorrow. I'll be quick. We obviously want to hear from the SROs, and both Amelia and Melissa did a great job. I'll just add a couple of thoughts. It was day 24 of trimester 3 today. So we are nearing the back half of the last trimester of the year, and we know these days go by really quick. From my lens, it's been a really solid year so far. We've had lots to celebrate, things that we've talked about here, and more to come. Parent-teacher conferences, you got messages from me today. Last week, Melissa just talked about it. I just want to reiterate that we have the sophomore parent update at 6 o'clock next Thursday night in person. I know we do some really good stuff in the chats through PTSO here, but it will be the entire counseling team, and they'll be talking about everything a sophomore should be thinking about and their family heading into next year and beyond, right? So academic and career planning, college visit conversations, ACT prep, Naviance, apprenticeship opportunities, other things in the timeline to graduation. So if you have a sophomore, you should come. If you know people sophomores, let them know that that Mr. Ebert says it'd be worth their time to show up in person at 6 o'clock if they can make that work. Spring does bring a lot of milestones and events. We'll talk about a few of those. Melissa mentioned the testing that took place. It was really nice to get that out of the way. Tuesday, the freshmen, sophomores today, they did 2 tests, and you could tell their brains were fried by the end of the day. It is good to get the stuff out of the way though, and back to normal schedule and normal learning in our classes. AP testing, Melissa mentioned, that does start May 6th and goes through the 17th. We do continue to run AP boosts. I would say almost there's multiple of them on a daily basis that kids are showing up to, and that's really good. So make sure your student is looking into those dates, has them bookmarked, and is showing up, especially as we get near to the exams here. It's truly just put on for their benefit to be prepared for those tests. Another big milestone, of course, is prom. It was fantastic. We had almost 500 tickets sold. I think 494 was the number of students we actually seated. We worked really hard to get everybody who wanted to go the chance to go. Mrs. Pfaff and Mrs. Ackman, along with Mrs. Kress and Mrs. Orozco in the office, did an amazing job getting things together. It is a ton of work to operate the prom. And so I get to ride all of their coattails and host the party. But they do really all the work, and it's really important work in order for us to give that experience to kids. Our second year at Discovery World, we know that already. It's just a beautiful venue. It was gorgeous weather again for picture taking throughout the evening, and seeing kids get all dressed up and having a great time is truly a highlight of my school year every year. And it was again last Saturday night. I again thought it was special to see families with their students beforehand, getting pictures, group pictures, individual pictures. It's nice to see parents being able to enjoy the venue with their kids prior to leaving and allowing them to enjoy the prom. And certainly that wouldn't be able to work without the PTSO's help starting at 5:30. Amelia mentioned that before. So obviously, thank you guys for that help. Spring play was mentioned. That's really important next week. Kids are working really hard to be prepared for Pride and Prejudice. The Merit Award ceremony is coming up in just a few weeks, May 14th. If your student is eligible for the Merit Award, that means they handed in their packets, right? We talk about that on here pretty regularly. Mr. Zavada and Miss Orozco combed through each of the packets, ensured that that people met their requirements, and we'd like to honor people. It's a great opportunity to be honored and to hear from a Homestead legend, Mr. Kurlick, who will be our keynote speaker that night. So make sure if your son or daughter is receiving the Merit Award that they come to the ceremony and hear from Mr. Zavada, myself, and importantly, Mr. Kurlick, as well as a few other students who are 4-year Merit Award winners. Should be a good 45 minutes to spend in the cafeteria together. Friday, May 25th, we remember, was listed as a flex day on the calendar for the school year. Long ago, that changed to a in-person school day for high school students. It's not a school day for K-8s. We all know that. It's just a reminder for me, though, that we do want our high school students at school on May 25th. It will be a normal school day, and we'll be doing teaching and learning on that day. I can't believe I'm saying it, but I did mention we're already getting to the second half of trimester 3. Graduation is nearing, right? Absolutely the biggest event of the school year in the district, and it is a super important one. Senior parents will get some information from me and Mrs. Kress by next week, and we're looking forward to everything that goes into the end of the year for our seniors, including senior dinner that we're working on together here on Sunday evening, June 2nd. I mentioned prom being a highlight of the year. The senior dinner is really a neat opportunity as well to hear from students. I get to speak a little bit. We usually bring in a few teachers, and everybody's just excited for what's to come, and to really see this group of kids go from the incoming freshmen to their senior dinner is it's a special moment for those of us who get to see that group advance through their time at Homestead. So as we usher them out, just like that, we usher in a new group of Highlanders. Incoming freshman extracurricular information night is scheduled for Monday night, May 6th. There will be lots of people there, lots of coaches, advisors, and student leaders in parts of different groups. That'd be clubs, other co-curriculars like robotics or debate or forensics, and then our sports teams as well. Please make sure, if you know people from the middle schools that are coming up in the class of 2028, that you urge them to come to freshman extracurricular information night. It's really important. Yes, people come to academic information night in January, also important, but we know that there's multiple parts to being a Homestead Highlander, and this is a big one, being engaged in co-curriculars. We want kids to show up and be signed up on lists of things that they want to participate in when they show up in August or September at Homestead. So that night's important. So please, I met with Lakeshore, just at Lakeshore PTO, actually, I think it was last week, and reminded everybody. But if you know people at the different groups, please make sure that they know and they're coming. That's what I have as updates for me for this month. I certainly will stick around, and I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has, just like Melissa had mentioned.
Mr. Ewert, I just want to ask a couple of quick questions that you probably will be sharing in the coming weeks with senior parents. But at our last meeting with Chris Bessler, people asked about, for example, adding pins to their graduation attire, like the National Honor Society pin that you might earn. And then I think the question about number of graduation tickets that will be available. And one of the things that she also pointed out was if you know you're not going to use all of the tickets that you're allotted, to return them back to the office is very helpful for planning, because it comes down to fire codes. And if we have tickets that aren't being used, that can be used by other parents, other families, that would be wonderful. But if you have any information on that you're willing or able to share at this point, or you just want to wait until the broad communication goes out, that's fine too.
No. I'm happy to talk about graduation. So first off, students get 8 tickets, which seems to be enough for people, and that certainly fits everybody into the field house. I will add this: if anybody needs more than 8, after I send out my information, they can reach out to me and Nancy Kress, and we will work to ensure that they are able to get more than 8 should they need them. We do have a smaller graduating senior class as well, so it probably won't be much of an issue to fit people into the field house. But the number's 8, and like I said, that typically is a fair amount for people. But we do want to work with everyone to ensure that they have that anybody who wants to come in person can see it. Now, we will also be streaming it live. We've done that the last, I guess, 5 years, last 5 years, since our first outdoor ceremony. We'll be in the field house again, but our first outdoor ceremony where we limited the number of guests, we streamed that, and back by popular demand, we'll be doing that again. So that's a good opportunity for people who have out of town relatives that want to see their graduate cross the stage. When it comes to pins or cultural memorabilia, whatever somebody might have, it's always a really good question. At Homestead, we look at as all of us graduating as one, as Highlanders. And so it has been tradition at our school that we don't stand out in terms of adding additional pins or flair or college logos on hats, those sorts of things, and that people graduate in their standard red cap and gown from Homestead. So that's the expectation. Now, we do hand out cords for 2 levels of honors students, and so that information will be coming. So there's certainly an opportunity for people to be recognized for their great academic work, but there wouldn't be additional pins or those sorts of things allowed to be added. Again, we graduate as one as a class, and that's just a long-standing tradition at Homestead. Hopefully that answers that question. I got more to come on graduation, but those are 2 really good questions to start.
Great, thank you. Okay, any other questions for Principal Ebert? All right. I want to introduce our guests, our school resource officers, Officers Johnson and Myrtle. We're very grateful for their willingness to come and speak to the group tonight. We all recall and shared in the tragedy that occurred in our community last summer around underage drinking and then driving as well. And on the heels of having Rogers Behavioral Health come and talk about resources available for parents who have children who are struggling with mental health or potentially addiction, what they can do, we felt making the community aware of the, kind of what's the advice that our officers provide to students around this area, and maybe share that with the parents so they can kind of be a part of that advice, an opportunity to ask questions of our officers when it comes to, like prom is behind us, but there are a lot of graduation parties and parties just generally in front of us. And so being able to have a very open, frank conversation about what it means, what do we do, how do we handle maybe potentially awkward social situations for our kids, how can we best support them, just thought it would be helpful to just hear from our school resource officers. We're very lucky to enjoy a wonderful partnership with Mequon Police Department and our schools, and we have a couple of wonderful officers here who just are really wonderful resources for us. And so thank you, Officer Johnson and Officer Myrtle, for being here to talk with our group. I'm going to just turn it over to you and then allow you to do your thing, and then maybe follow up with any questions that might come from the group after.
Yeah, that sounds great. So I'll start it off. I'm Officer Johnson. I'm one of the school resource officers here for the MTSD. A little bit about myself. I've been an officer for about 7 years. I'm in my 8th year coming up here soon. I've been an SRO within the district for 4 years now. I also am a football coach for the football team. Been a coach for about 3 years now. I love every moment of it, and it gives me the opportunity to see our fine boys for a month before school starts. So gives me a leg up on seeing everybody in the hallways. I'll let Jason introduce himself.
So I'm Jason Mortal. I apologize. I'm in my car at my son's soccer practice here, so I either get video or audio. So I've been with the Mequon Police Department now. I'm in my 25th year, so a few years longer than Lewis. I'm in my 5th year as SRO. Loving every minute of it. I'd have to say that, in my 25 years of law enforcement, this is the most fun that I've had, has been in the schools with the kids and everything that we've accomplished. So, and Lewis and I are doing a lot of things this year, and it's been a lot of fun for us. So
fantastic.
So I guess I can kind of start off the conversation around underage drinking. We do a lot of talk with our health classes and our crimes class for the seniors. And somehow, we always get on the topic of drinking, right? It is happening, unfortunately. We do a lot of education about the rules and the laws and some of the consequences that come with it. So all the kids should be aware of what the consequences are. We go into, there are different city ordinance violations that they can get into. We talk about if they're in any quote extracurriculars, there could be code violations that could be assessed to them. Me and Jason, we do belong to a SRO network within southeastern Wisconsin here. And it is an understanding if there is students from, let's say, Cedarburg that end up getting caught at an underage drinking party, those names do get passed along to the corresponding school resource officer. So they are able to have conversations with parents, have conversations with coaches. So there is a lot of information sharing that gets put together by us. Jason can kind of talk about some of the consequences surrounding hosting an underage drinking party. We kind of talk about that with the students. I believe Jason has the official city ordinance to share with everyone.
Yeah, I don't exactly remember when it went into effect. It hasn't been on the books for that long. It's a fairly newer one, since we started having more issues with the underage drinking and things like that. But it is on the City of Mequon ordinance page. If you just Google that, you can go right to it. It's section 46-157. It's actually called the social host ordinance. Goes into a lot of definitions and things like that, but basically it holds accountable. A lot of times, at least throughout my career, in the beginning when we had underage drinking parties, a lot of times it was when parents were out of town and the kids were home alone. But once we started to see the trend of, actually parents being at home when these things are going on, that's when the city decided to take a better look at it and a little harsher stance, to try to hold some of the parents accountable. Obviously, with all the liability and things that come with it. And obviously, again, we saw that tragedy last summer, with drinking going on at a residence and then them ending up leaving and driving. As for fines, according to the ordinance, I have not written one of these tickets yet, and I don't know how many have been issued, but the fines are steep. It starts at minimum of $300 and goes up to a maximum of $2,500. That's obviously at the discretion of the judge. But Lewis and I run the municipal court, and our judge really takes seriously, the increased underage tobacco and vaping and underage drinking that comes across her whenever we have court. So it is a good ordinance. Hopefully we don't have to use it, but we have been seeing a lot more instances where, Lewis and I are in the schools every day. We hear a lot of chatter amongst the kids, that these types of things do happen. They do go on. They're harder for us to catch, especially our road guys that are out there. Kids are smart. They do what they can to avoid having any contact with us. But anytime there is a dance or event going on, we do send out emails to our road squads to let them know to be a little more vigilant on those nights and keep their eyes open for groups of kids moving around the city, and to hopefully stop things before they end up tragic.
I was doing a little research on the site myself, and that 300 to 2,500 fine actually increases if there's a second one, as I understand. Is that correct?
Yep, and that's the same, goes along also with underage drinking tickets. As they get into the second, third, fourth offenses, the fine does go up. So
I think, there's consequences, as we know. I think as a parent, my overwhelming urge is to keep my child safe. And I have to kind of accept a level of reality that this is going to happen, no matter what the ordinances are or the laws or how well-intended parents might be. This can happen. And as I understand it, if my child were to host a party with underage people here drinking and I'm not even present, I'm still considered a host because this is my home. Is that correct? Just
yep.
Making sure. Yeah. But anyway, the reality is it happens. And what can we do as parents to try to reiterate safety? Yes, there's legality and we want to respect the laws and ordinances. We don't want our kids doing this, but if they find themselves in a situation, what do you share or offer information with our students about what they might be able to do to mitigate risk?
Yeah, so I can answer that question. We do talk about the different opportunity or options out there for if you do find yourself at a drinking party, or you do end up drinking yourself. Never ever get behind of the car if you have been drinking, or never let your friends, if they've been drinking, get behind the wheel of a car. There's tons and tons of different resources out there, whether it's parents, friends, Uber, Lyft, call one of us. We would rather have you get somewhere safe than have something tragic happen to you. And we make sure we reiterate that multiple times. I remember when I was a kid in high school and my parents said, if you ever do, find yourself drinking, right? Call us. Doesn't matter if it's 2 a.m. We will come pick you up, but we will definitely have a conversation about it, the next day. So it always kind of stuck with me. And I always share that experience with the students that I'm talking with, because I think the more personable you can be, it kind of hits home a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, another option is stay put.
Yep.
Yeah, just don't leave. So a question kind of as a follow-up to that, if someone does reach out to, a student does reach out to the police department for a ride, is that going to bring any scrutiny with it?
I would go ahead, Jason, you can answer that one.
Well, I was just gonna say, yeah, I mean, there is discretion on our end, but obviously we do have to follow our job. Obviously, that's gonna go a lot longer way in the judge's eyes. I mean, obviously, if a kid chooses to reach out to us, obviously there is consequences for underage drinking and things like that. But on the bottom of every citation that we write, there is a narrative section where the officer gets to write down what occurred, and that gets read in the court to the judge. And like I said, the judge has the discretion of either holding the citation open for a year, where if there's no other violations, then it can be dropped. Obviously, like I said, the judge is a very smart woman and she really cares about the kids. She does follow through, obviously, on, consequence side of things, but what she can do to help the kids learn and to, see them succeed. Because like you said, kids make mistakes. But, so she does offer different options to, help them and keep things open. But like I said, obviously, if they're coming forward and looking for a ride or things like that, that goes a lot further than obviously, getting behind the wheel and then driving, because then she doesn't have empathy. So.
No, I appreciate the context. That's very helpful to have. In your experience, has there been, I don't mean this to make like an interview or a talk show, but I mean, I'm just asking more questions. In your experience, has there been like an increase, or have we held steady? Like, where are we in terms of volume of incidents, or how do you see this having been evolving over time? Do you have any comments on that?
From my end, over my career, I think it's hard to say that it's getting less. I think the kids are getting smarter. I can remember going to underage drinking parties earlier on in my career, and kids were running across the roof and yards and things like that, where now I think kids are smarter and they're keeping it smaller groups, at locations where they don't leave. So I don't know. I want to say, I hope it's getting less. We don't hear of as many getting busted anymore, but I think that's because hopefully, maybe it's the parents taking more responsibility and keeping the kids in locations and not letting them run around and, be out there in the city at night. But
I will add, I think it's awesome that you guys did the mental health awareness your last meeting, I think you said. I would agree with Jason, but I would also say that there are a lot of students of ours that are dealing with other issues, whether it be stress or mental health. So I do think that students do find different coping mechanisms. And I think alcohol is, it's a pretty easy one to fall into. So I think, the more education that we can push for, if there is a need, if you do need something, there are different resources out there besides, drugs, alcohol, tobacco, stuff like that.
Yeah, if you missed the talk last month, it is available. The recording was pushed out through Short Kilts. But in addition to community resources such as Rogers, the school has phenomenal resources as well. I don't know, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, Mr. Ebert. If Do you want to speak about that at all? Or speak to that at all?
Yeah, about additional resources.
Yeah,
Well, certainly our counseling team is well versed in working with students around AODA issues. Terry Carr, who I know has been with this group in the past, is a wonderful person and an expert in working with students around addiction and around use. And so we oftentimes, if you know, if we come across issues, we'll connect kids with our social emotional coach, Mrs. Carr. And of course, we've got a whole team of people in the building who see themselves as trusted adults that, like Officer Johnson was saying before, right? We want to be able to help you before things get tragic. And so it's important for us to build trust with kids and for them to know they can reach out if they need help, if they're caught in a situation, or if they really feel like there's a use issue that they want and need help with.
thank you. Like, again, I know I can put you on the spot.
No.
I want to open it up for questions, but before I do, for Officer Johnson and Myrtle, I mean, is there more that you want to share just broadly with the group before we just open it up for Q&A?
I guess I would say if there is ever any questions, we have an open door policy. Our emails and phone numbers are on the district's website. So if you guys ever do need help answering questions, or you would like us to sit down with your student, or if you guys want us to sit down with you and your student, we are more than willing to do that.
That's fantastic. Well, I know I asked a bunch of questions. I kind of tried to ask questions that I figured would be ones that people might have and maybe wouldn't feel as comfortable asking. But please, this is a no judgment zone, and it's just like an open communication. Just anyone who has any questions, please don't hesitate.
I have a question. So our family's a transplant. We moved here from Illinois, and the kids, you know, once they became teenagers, were very quick to apparently identify that underage students can or children can drink with their parents in public places, in restaurants, get served, etc. So how does that translate? So say you're out to dinner and the kids are having a glass of wine or a cocktail with the family, and then all of a sudden your student goes to meet up with their friends. They're not driving, but they're with their friends. Now they have participated in underage drinking. So I just don't really understand like the thought process or the laws around that. Should they come home and stay home then, since they had something to drink with the family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Jason. You can answer that one.
I was say that's actually one of the questions that is on our little freshman sheet that we talk about in the freshman health class, is that, you know, unfortunately in Wisconsin, it is legal to go and drink with your parents. But we do stress to the students and let them know that the minute you leave your parents, you know, custody, then all bets are off. So if you're out drinking with your parents, you come home and you go out with your friends and you get stopped by law enforcement, you are now underage drinking and can be cited for that. And we really stress that to the kids, that if your parents do allow you to have a drink, you have to remain with them essentially pretty much the rest of the night.
Thank you. That's really good to know. Do other people have questions they want to ask? Is there anything we're missing that you think in terms of just, I know you guys have spoken to a lot of student groups and a lot of parent groups over the years. Just, is there anything you think we're missing?
I think we,
Jason and Liz?
I think we've hit everything, all the main talking points. once again, I think just the more education we can provide our young students, the better. You know, ultimately they are going to have to make the decision on their own. But if we can give them the resources to make a solid decision, hopefully they make the right one.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things, going off of what Lewis just said there. That's one of the things that we really stress too when we go in and do all of our advisory talks with the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. We really hit on education and the idea of peer pressure, and we discuss at length with them, you know, what peer pressure is. And, you know, just because all your friends are doing something doesn't mean that you have to. And that's been one of our real big focuses the last couple of years here with our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, to help prepare them, you know, because we really explain to them that once you get to high school, it's a different world, and you're going to be exposed to a lot of different things that will tempt you. So, you know, obviously with parents' education and everything else like that, we hope we're instilling in them some good advice and that they follow as they go on. But just keeping your kids' lives, and, you know, they may think that you're prying into what they're doing, but, you know, hopefully they will come to that realization that, you know, we are looking out for them, and hopefully they will make the right choices.
I think another important resource that we shouldn't overlook is each other. We're all parents in this community, and we all care deeply about our kids and about our kids' friends. And so leaning on each other as a resource in times of need, but also just, if you know something's going on, you know, don't be shy about sharing. I feel like that we just need to look out for each other too. All right, well, I don't have anything more to offer. I guess I would encourage any parents that have more questions. Again, Officers Johnson and Myrtle have like put their names out there and would be more than happy to have additional conversations with you. Principal Ebert shared the resources available through the school. You can go back and look at what Rogers shared with us last month. There are just so many wonderful resources out there for our students and our families that you can make available to yourselves. So please, you know, make use of them where you can.
Thanks for having us tonight.
Thank you so much for being here. I really, really appreciate it. It's an important topic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So I think we can move on to the next part of our agenda. Let me pull that up. I get a little confused sometimes with multiple screens, so. Okay. All right, so officer reports, we're ready to turn to some of the business part of the meeting here. I'll turn it over to, is Becky on? I can't see everybody who's on. Is Becky Kanya on? I don't see Becky Kanya on. Were the minutes published in our last, in the short kilts?
I don't know if they were, but
I know we generally do. Let's come back to approval of the March minutes. We'll make sure we get back to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead with the treasurer's report.
Hey, so at the beginning of March, we had a bank balance of $49,558.79. The only activity we had this month were $57.75 in deposits from membership and a donation. And we ended the month with $49,616.54. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Jamie. Okay, president's report, that's me. I feel like I've done a lot of talking already tonight, but we're winding down the year. we just, again, so grateful for our speakers these last couple of months. I think they're really important topics. Next month will be our induction for officers, voting for officers, and an induction of officers. I believe both happen on the same month. So it's an important meeting. Always accept write-in candidates, of course. If you're interested in serving on the executive board or in any committee positions, I mean, I think it's a great opportunity to just get more deeply involved with everything that we're doing. But yeah, we're winding down the year. It's kind of strange to think that we're near the end, isn't it, Roberta?
It's kind of crazy. Just one
Yeah.
meeting. It's been a great year. So
It has been. Yep. I'm going to come back. I'm looking through short kilts right now to see if I can find that it went out, and so that we can approve those minutes. In the meantime, why don't we go through the committee reports? I know, Linda, next week it's sophomore parents are hosting, right? Is Linda on?
She's not, but Rachel and I are.
Okay. Okay, go for it.
Yeah, so we are having a taco bar for the teachers next week for conferences and the sophomore parents. It's not too late if you're a sophomore parent out there to donate for the taco bar. And in May, we will be asking for donations for the end of the year luncheon for the teachers. So that's coming up. But right now we're focused on the taco bar for next week. That's it.
Is there any need for parent volunteers or donations for anything? I'm sorry, I might have missed something. Treats or anything like that would, or for, I guess we've got the staff appreciation week coming on as well.
Not that I'm aware of right now. Rachel, do you know of anything?
Well, the taco bar is the sophomore
Right.
class.
Right.
And then the teacher appreciation week is open for any and all donations.
Well,
it's my understanding.
yeah.
So that's just kind of I think everybody just needs to really be watching short kilts because there's a lot of stuff coming up. Grad greetings I saw, and which is not us, but another big thing. And so yes, and the dinners for conferences are just a really big deal for the staff. So we make sure that Linda makes sure that there's plenty of food.
And we don't do like the teacher appreciation week that's typically done because that is the AP exams. We do
Right.
the end of the year luncheon thing.
Right.
Okay.
Which is by the request of the teachers.
The teachers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right.
just
I'm
too
glad you
much.
pointed it out. Yep.
But I think we're good otherwise.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, we'll keep our eyes peeled on short kilts for any volunteer opportunities or donation opportunities, anything you need from the parent groups. So, or from the parents. So
Great. Thanks.
thank you for all you do. I mean, I know the staff genuinely appreciates it. And I know the district staff always is grateful to be considered a part of it too. So, oh, one other thing I should mention is we did a SOAR report, strengths, opportunities. I forget what the A and the R are off the top of my head. And results being R, but I forget what the A is off the top of my head. But we will be presenting that at the school board meeting on the 22nd, on Monday the 22nd, just as a side note. Okay, back to committee reports. Christina, are you on? Or anybody on to talk about grad greetings?
I don't believe so, but I'll just
Okay.
go ahead and I'm looking at the short kilts and what was posted. So grad greetings are due May 1st, as we mentioned before. There is the Google form inside of the short kilt link. And then there was also a separate email that went out regarding grad greetings. So those are $3 each. It's just a really nice little booklet for your student. I saw one parent went ahead and posted it on Facebook so that her student could, get a bunch of greetings. So that's that has launched, and it's kind of a quick turnaround. So May 1st, the greetings need to be in, and all the information is in short kilts.
Awesome. Cindy, I know you already spoke about Leave a Legacy to our prior group, but do you mind doing a repeat?
Yeah, this will be even quicker because we already got to talk to senior parents about it a little bit. So Leave a Legacy is the gift that senior families give to Homestead in honor of the graduating class. Our committee is just getting going. We'll be meeting with Eric in the next couple of weeks to finalize the gift and the details. And then an email with the gift information and a link for donating will go out to the senior families, and we'll also put it in short kilts. So it's just going to be one more of the many short kilt entries. And the donation window will be open from mid-May through a week or two after graduation, to give senior families plenty of time to honor their grads and donate to the gift. And so I'm sure one of our committee members or Mr. Ebert will include more gift details in future PTSO meetings. Yeah.
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And then Julie, I can just go ahead and touch on senior dinner. Again, that information is in short kilts. It is Sunday, June 2nd at 6 p.m. It's in the Homestead cafeteria. And it will be a Mexican buffet. And the cost is $24 a ticket, and the tickets can be purchased by their student on GoFan by May 22nd is the deadline for that. And then the attire is college, post-grad plans, or Homestead apparel. So it's, again, we talked about it earlier, it's just a really fun time for students. There are some faculty there, but no parents. It's just for the students. And then at this time, could Jen or Rachel, could you, we have our slate of officers. And so our nomination committees, Linda Walsh, Rachel Marks, and Jen Winterfield. Could you present the slate of officers for the 2024-25 school year?
I sure can. So the slate of officers are co-presidents Veronica Pope and Trudy Kanapka. Co-vice presidents will be Melissa Blindorn and Jamie O'Connor. Our treasurer will be Genevieve Espinosa, and our secretary, Jenny McDonald. Congratulations to all those people. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Oh, do you need me to say what's still open?
Oh, no, that's okay. So
Okay.
So yep, so those are the board members are covered. That is a slate, as Julie mentioned earlier. Anyone is welcome to come to the main meeting and put their name in and as that evening if they would like to run. And then the main meeting will be the elections, and then after the elections will be the installation at that meeting. So thank you.
Okay. Let's go ahead. I know Becky will be on shortly, so let's go ahead with we've got open positions for next year, committee positions, but as noted. But let's go ahead with our organization reports from Veronica. You were going to talk about area council. That was a fun meeting.
It was fun. It was great. And thank you both for this meeting and for bringing in these great resources for everybody. Really appreciate it and great stuff. Area council meeting we attended on April 3rd, earlier this month. I think main points from that meeting, a lot to kind of reiterate some of the things that we said earlier in this meeting. The report from Dr. Joint is that there's just a lot of super important dates coming up to be aware of and to be following. So be watching your emails. And short kilts, but some highlights include obviously teacher appreciation coming up. We've got gallery night coming up at the beginning of May. We've got spring performances, awards nights coming up. Just watch your email. Lots of important things coming up as we go into the end of the month. He also reminded us that they're underway on the strategic plan update and doing a lot to get ready with the rec department for summer programming as well. School board report included an update on the school board elections and their efforts to bring in our new school board member and our incumbents back into the fold, and they'll be doing a lot of work to prepare for bringing them up to speed and doing a board retreat to prepare and plan. That's kind of the big stuff.
Yep, I didn't have anything else either. You know, I had a great co-presenter for the SOAR report. Grateful for Veronica.
I had a great co-presenter. We did present our SOAR report. The acronym is Strengths, Opportunities, Aspirations, and Results.
Thank you. I couldn't remember the A.
Thank you both.
I love how Melissa has this like amazing like still photo. She looks like she's driving, but she's not. It's like I'm really digging that, Melissa. Not to call you out or anything. All right. Trudy, do you want to talk about MTEF?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
I'm in a nursery at church, so it's got a nice background here. Yeah, and I think most of you are very familiar with the Education Foundation that really gives a lot of support to our schools, all of our schools, and throughout the years, they've given thousands of dollars. So the events that are coming up that we would really want to emphasize and have people take advantage of, there's Give Backs on May 9th, and that's at the Blackbird Company Clothing, and you don't need any kind of code or anything. They're just going to give 15% back to the foundation. Right after that, the following week is May 5th, which is at Collectivo. And note that is a late start day, and those do start, the 20% back starts at 6:30 a.m. and goes until 4 in the afternoon. So maybe pass it along to your students, and that'd be a good time to have their stop there for their drinks. They do have to mention the MTEF there. It's not just an open invitation, and just put that invitation out to everybody to mention MTEF. Mathnasium will go now through the end of May, and they'll give back $50 for every new sign up that mentions the MTEF. So all of these things are just kind of bread and butter that goes through the MTEF, and it's very helpful throughout the 6 different Mequon-Thiensville schools. So, and obviously they'll take any kind of support that comes their way, or just any of us being advocates, ambassadors for that group that helps out the school district. That is the full report that I have.
Thank you, Trudy. You and Veronica are taking the lead, starting very soon. You're going to be great.
Yay.
Nicole, anything for voices that you want to share?
Yeah, so we have can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay,
Perfect.
good. I'm on my phone. Okay. This coming Monday, April 22nd, we have our Best Buddies open gym night. It'll be happening at the field house at Homestead. So we're pretty excited. I asked Lily Obernader to kind of fashion it kind of after the class that they do, the adaptive PE class. It's pretty neat. So they'll have activities and different things for the kids. It'll be a social event. We'll have food and some drinks, snacks provided, and it's for ages elementary school all the way through high school. So yeah, we're excited to try this. It'll be the first time we do it. If it goes well, I'd love to see it happen, in the
Uh-oh, I think we lost you. Right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. And then on
Maybe it was just
Monday,
me.
May 20th, we have our outing to Possibility Playground in Port Washington. And that's our annual end of the year closeout. It's usually pretty well attended. So we've kept that on the calendar for the last 3 years. And we'll of course have pizza again and snacks, and kids have a lot of fun at the playground, and hopefully we'll have nice weather.
Great.
Some fun. So yeah, that's all I have.
Is there anything you need from the PTSO?
Well, yeah, I guess just the flyer is posted now on the website, the district website. So if anybody has any questions or information or knows of anybody that might be interested, just guide them over there maybe and have them take a peek. That would be awesome.
We can do that.
Thank you.
Yep.
I
Okay,
think
normally the flying age custodian, I think, is kind of low key, but we're entering a season where, you know, the flying age becomes a thing, you know, like I'll do Connie's little dance, but
absolutely. You
it
know
becomes
what?
very popular now, doesn't it?
So Flying H will make an appearance at senior dinner, I'm sure. And so when I prepared the agenda, I unfortunately made a little mistake here. So I'm going to go back to open committee positions for 2024-25 and advertising sponsorship booster liaison, Flying H custodian, leave a legacy, teacher wish list, senior dinner, and booster. Did we say booster liaison? Yeah, booster liaison are all open committee positions for next year. If anybody is interested, please reach out. We would love to fill those soon. So we have, you know, all of our committee chairs and committees filled before going into the next school year. So is Becky close?
I'm here.
Yay, Becky. So
Sorry about that.
Before the minutes, do you want to go ahead and just give a little boosters update and then the minutes?
Sure. So I think the last time the booster update was that there was no pancake breakfast this year due to just some scheduling conflicts. But there is going to be an event on May 19th, and I believe that was in the last booster blast, but it's going to be at Missing Links from like 9 to noon. So there'll be other like correspondence going out to families, but it'll just serve as the recognition event for those seniors, student athletes, and just kind of a replacement for the pancake breakfast this year. So that was the main thing. And I mean, obviously, other than that, spring sports are underway, even though it just rains.
Right.
Love sitting in the rain and watching my team lose. But yeah, that's the primary news out of boosters is that event on May 19th. So put it on your calendars, and yeah, look for notices. And I'll try to get something in short kilts too, just to hopefully get people there. It's free also, so
good. Does somebody have I think Veronica, you said you might have had the minutes up. You want to share that real quickly, and then Becky, you can take it away.
Okay. Yep. So these are the meetings from the minutes from the March meeting. So do I have someone to
motion to approve?
Approve.
All right, Roberta. Come in clutch.
Do we have a second?
Rachel, thank you.
And all in favor?
Oh, I'm doing a thumbs up. I'm gonna do
me too.
I won't do it elsewhere, even though I could. I'll do it. See, I'm doing it twice. All right. All right, so they're approved. Thank you. Old business, new business, anything we're missing, guys, ladies?
No.
All right, so our last meeting of the year is March. Let me try again. Our last meeting of the year is May 16th. at 7:30 p.m. via Zoom. Watch for a link in short kilts. We'll be electing our officers for next year. We have our slate that our nominating committee has put forward. Again, we've said it before, their writing candidates are also welcome. Anything else, Roberta?
No, I think it's
All right.
going to be a busy end of the year, and stay tuned. It sounds like a lot of communication is going to be coming from
Absolutely.
administration, and keep looking into short kilts, and we'll get as much information out there as we can. So
Awesome. Thank you all very much. We're officially adjourning the meeting for April, and thank you all for attending. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Right.
Bye.